According to Free Press Publications, his record is 2-1, and the Canadian Professional Boxing Federation says his record is 1-1. Now, why is this in the part of the fighting game that always everybody's saying a different record?
Well, I think for one thing, fighters being fighters, a lot of them don't keep track of their records all that closely. That's one aspect of it. Some fighters like Kellar will fight in a lot of gyms, a lot of small places where they're not sanctioned fights. It doesn't get in the record book, and let's be honest, too. Promoters want a guy who is 4-1. They don't want a guy who's 1-1. It sells a lot better.
Okay, into the ring right now for our first fight of the evening is Mike, the Peacemaker Kip, with a record of 2-1. He's 23 years of age, and he had an amateur record of 38-1 and was Golden Gloves champion in 1985. And he's managed by Ken Lakusta, his senior. And the thing that he wants is he says he has a deadly right jab, but he's been out for a while. He hasn't fought the last 3 years. So he's trying to get basically a fight.
Well, it makes him 3 years more active than his opponent. We got two inactive fighters here. It's really difficult to say what will happen.
Okay, Mike Kip Peacemaker will be in the blue corner, while the hometown boy, Cliff the Gunpowder, is in the red corner. Now, Cliff has an interesting career, a really interesting career. He's been in prison a few times. He was in prison for arson. He fought in prison. And right now, we're going to take a quick look at a clip. Cliff the Gunpowder. Cliff, the last time he fought in Fort McMurray was 1972. He had an impressive amateur record of 366 wins, 190 by defeat. How do you feel coming back to town after a literally 17-year absence in the fighting ring?
Well, I feel very proud to come bring a professional fight in my hometown, and I respect Kenny for having me being on the card. As he knows, I'm originally from my hometown. I was born and raised here all my life. But I left McMurray after I won the amateur championship, Canadian championship, featherweight championship, and then I came on to win a gold medal in Edmonton, and then I left McMurray because there was no competition for me.
Now, you've had a 6-year absence from boxing. How do you feel coming back into the pro ranks?
Well, I feel very confident in myself. I feel that I'm in very good shape, and I feel that I'm on my way to be ranked in Canada in the light middleweight division.
Okay, you said your goal is to get the Canadian title.
Yeah, my goal is to become the Canadian champion in Canada. Yeah. As I know the title is vacant right now in the middleweight division.
Okay, at 33 years of age, you feel that's too old to come back?
Never too old for me.
Okay, your amateur career. Can you tell us a bit about your amateur career, where you started and where it took you?
Okay, I started boxing in Fort McMurray in 1963. Through my uncle George Samuelson, the one that raised me all my life since I was a kid. He was the one that got me into boxing because I fought in school too much. And Boston came in my hometown in 1966, I believe. And there was a guy by the name of Mike Woodward. He was a heavyweight champion in the Army. He got me training, and Rex Cruz came along back in '67, and he took over my career. And from there, I had tremendous amateur fights in my career.
A lot of people have questioned your career, saying 366 fights, that's an awful lot of fights. How did you get so much fights?
Well, why I have so much fights under my amateur record is because Rex Cruz put me in every tournament in Canada. Plus, I took a trip to Vancouver. I fought in split decision. Then from there, after that, I fought in Edmonton. I fought in the Canadian Featherweight Championship. I scored a knockout, 1 minute 3 seconds. After that, in every tournament in Canada, they had Rex Cruz put me on the tournament. That's the reason why I had so many amateur fights.
Okay, you've been a professional 7 years now. Officially, from the Canadian Boxing Federation, says your record is 2-1. Cliff Powder says his record is 4-1. Do you feel either it's 3 fights or 5 fights in 8 years, that's enough fights to make a living at this sport, or is it more of a hobby, pro boxing?
Well, I want to make a living at it, and plus it's my life. I've been a fighter as a kid, and I'm planning to make a good name for my hometown, Fort McMurray, and plus for Canada.
Okay. In the past, I hope you don't mind me asking, you served time in Stonewall Penitentiary. Do you feel that affected your career at all, serving time in jail, the boxing career at all? How did that affect it?
Yes, it did. It had me taking me away from many world amateur championships. I believe I could have been probably world champion in '76 if I was represented in the Olympics. Which I was representing the Olympics, but they didn't want me because I was in prison at the time.
Do you think that coming out of prison, your attitude towards boxing and life changed at all?
It changed me very, very a lot. Yeah, it did.
Mike, one thing Cliff said in his interview is he wanted to be like Roberto Duran. He feels that Roberto came back, and at 33 years of age, he'd come back. Do you think that's just a lot of talk or just colorful talk for a nice fellow?
I think it's just colorful talk. You can't compare Cliff's gunpowder to Roberto Duran. Cliff hasn't been that active before he's coming back. Roberto Duran was a classic fighter, one of the greatest fighters of all time. And he's making a comeback. He's a smart ring general. There's just no comparison there, I'm afraid.
And there's a shot of Cliff working out. He's in good shape. He's doing 1,000 push-ups a day. And you might get a shot of all those tattoos on his arm. One, there's a rose. There's also one saying boxing. In 1972, after a win, he went out and he got a tattoo.
He's an interesting story, and one that a lot of fighters would probably follow, coming up to the school of hard knocks, and he's trying to make a living out of boxing. The more power to him.
Okay, Mark Stiles, the ring announcer, is now going over the scoring. Mike, maybe you can tell us a bit about how the scoring is working tonight.
Well, I'm sure we have a lot of our viewers aren't boxing fans, and it's the 10-point must system, which means that one boxer must score 10 points. The winner of the round scores 10 points. The loser of the round is scored out of 10. Most rounds you'd see are 10-9 unless one boxer really dominated or knocked the other opponent down. It would be 10-8.
Okay. Once again, the first round is Cliff Gunpowder. He's 33 years of age and he's 151 pounds. And he's in our red corner. He's the hometown favorite naturally. And Mike, the Peacemaker, Kip at 148 pounds. Now, Kip, he's 10 years younger than his opponent. Do you think he's going to be looking at Powder and saying, I'm taking this old man?
I don't think so. The 4-round fight is going to make, it's almost like an amateur fight, really. These guys really shouldn't be facing themselves. They should just come out being busy the whole fight.
Okay, Mike, we were talking earlier, Powder hasn't fought for 6 years. The last time he fought in Fort McMurray was 16 years ago. Do you feel, you say you hope there's not any injuries tonight because they haven't fought for such a long time. How's that going to, what kind of fight can we expect? Is he going to be rusty or?
There's no question both of them are going to be rusty, and I would expect that both of them are going to get hit a lot. That's where you see it the most, the reflexes, trying to dodge his punches, trying to get under the punches and slip them. That's where you'll see it the most.
There's Mike, the Peacemaker, Kip, young man from Calgary, trains out of the inner city gym. And here's a introduction of Cliff Gunpowder.
He only lost one. The 1972.
Yeah, we got a new 300 fights. He lost one. It keeps on changing. It's something about boxing. You just have to learn. It's really interesting how the records just change always.
Well, records are something that really can be overrated anyway. I mean, basically what we've got here are a couple of young fighters, inactive fighters, relatively inexperienced as pros. Whether they're 2-1, 1-1, or 4-1, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference.
Watching earlier this week, I don't know much about this Peacemaker kid, but just a youth, and Powder didn't look in that greatest shape, so I think if Peacemaker comes out strong, he can take it to Powder.
As we say, having not seen both fighters for a long time and nobody knows much about them, it's difficult to say what each one